Hello, my name is Ewa Cybulska-Bohuszewicz. Today is the next lecture about Sigismund August and love and politics. This time we are broadcasting live and I will record our meeting. Today we have a guest, Radosław Rusnak. Radziu, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. This is Rusnak from University of Warsaw, and I'm so glad to give you a little glimpse into the secrets of royal chambers under the reign of the last Jagiellonian monarch on the Polish throne, namely Sigismund II August, who surprisingly was born exactly 500 years ago. So it's another reason for taking a look at this multidimensional and really unique figure in the Polish 16th century history. So, the tough times we're facing nowadays force me to contact you via modern devices, but I hope the lecture I'm going to give you would be as pleasurable, as enjoyable as it can be in real conditions. Eva, are you ready? Can we kick it off? We have a presentation for you, so let's start with the first picture. Okay, what we can see now is the range of the kingdoms under the Jagiellonian family at the turn of the 15th century. It's not only their native Lithuania and Poland, but also Czech and Hungarian kingdoms that were under the reign of Kazimir Jagiellończyk's first-born son, Władysław. And the Jagiellonian family at around 1480 was pretty sure destined to be a long and successful family, reigning over the huge terrain of the Eastern Europe. But surprisingly, after 80 years in 1572, when Sigismund died at Knyszów, he had no one to gain his throne, and Poland found herself in an urgent need to find a new ruler who became Henry of Valois, the brother of the current King of France. That happened despite multiple attempts that August made to produce an offspring, and his enormous sexual appetite that could be compared only to the one of the greatest and most outrageous rock and roll stars of the 20th century, I would say. And that was due to his quite early sexual initiation in his early years, under the guidance of one of her mother's servants, Diana di Cordona. And probably because of Diana, Sigismund gained a special liking to this certain kind of women. He got easily annoyed by shy and sexually inexperienced women, and he was really turned on by those of some sexual power and that were open to new experiences and was impudent. But the first wife he got was Elizabeth of Habsburg, the heiress of the really potent major monarch family ruling over Austria. Elizabeth, if we can see her right now at the picture number 2, was shy girl, totally out of August's liking, and that's why he got really discarded by her. And to make things worse, soon after the wedding in 1543, Elizabeth was showed the symptoms of her strange disease that was silent, was kept distant by her family when she got married with Sigismund. The disease she was suffering from was epilepsy, and the attacks, more and more violent with time, was so discouraging for August that he decided not to get into close proximity to her, and leaving Elizabeth all alone, estranged, isolated in a very hostile environment, constantly threatened by malices of her mother-in-law, namely Bona Sforza, who really and sincerely hated her. To make things worse, Sigismund got involved in a very passionate and deep relationship with certain Barbara Radziwiłł. She was the heiress of a major Lithuanian family with great ambitions of political power. Unlike the women from other nations, Lithuanians, we have to admit, didn't really care about monogamy or maintaining their virginity to the day of their weddings. So they felt really free to find new lovers even while married. And it was the case of Barbara, who didn't want to be to be a devoted wife of a certain Stanisław Gasztod, and was famous for multiple lovers that visited her chamber while she was married, and probably that's why Sigismund. That's why she caught Sigismund's attention, and Sigismund really wanted to meet her. So while being in Lithuania, he encountered her for the first time, and as we might assume, they fell for each other right away. Sigismund was caught by Barbara's appearance, by her openness to sexual experiences, by her skills in the field of eros. On the other hand, Barbara, I'm sorry, Barbara liked both his courtly manners and his eloquence, and they began to spend more and more time together. Um, Sigismund paid her visit as frequently as he could. He organized parties to honor her properly and bought her very expensive gifts. For example, pearls that she loved, who he imported from all over Europe. He had even created a special secret passage from the Vilnius palace where he dwelt to the right to the flat of Barbara. So two lovers could meet easily, not attracting too much attention from the other people. But the politics got involved in it because Barbara had two very ambitious brothers, both sharing name of Mikołaj, that decided to take advantage of the situation and enhance their political power and gain some political influence on Sigismund's actions. So they prepared an ambush. First, they talked Sigismund off to meet Barbara, telling him that was the scandalous thing to continue such a relationship. But then they spread a rumor that Barbara was pregnant with Sigismund. So obviously, August was eager to meet her as soon as possible. And one night, he sneaked into her chamber, where the two brothers captured him and insisted of legalizing the relationship right away. Surprisingly enough, it was a priest ready to tie the knot between Barbara and Augustus. Augustus was very happy of the situation, but his main goal was to make it public and finally to make Barbara coronated as a queen of Poland and Lithuania. But that's where the problems began because both for the royal family, for her parents and sisters, and the nobility, Barbara was completely unacceptable. Firstly, because she wasn't of royal descent and just vile Lithuanian family. And the second reason was her fame as an adulteress and depraved women. And soon she was called witch. She was called harlot. The drawings, obscene drawings, were starting to spread, in which Barbara was depicted with a with a necklace made of male penises as a sign of her vices, of her adultery. Nevertheless, despite all the resistance that he met, Augustus managed to organize the coronation, and even to force the bishop of Krakow to put a crown on Barbara's head. So he wrote to Rome and get the official permission to marry Barbara. But the happiness of the newlyweds were soon overshadowed by the serious illness of that Barbara was suffering from. She was almost unable to remains remained stable during the coronation. Soon she lost her weight. She lost her ability to walk. She got totally unable to walk, to be independent. Her intimate parts were rotting terribly, emitting a horrible stench so unbearable that nobody except for the king was ready to serve her, to assist her. And it was on his hands that she eventually died in May 1551. The king was in despair. The king didn't want to live, was so devastated that couldn't think about anything else but to honor properly his late wife. And first thing he decided to do was to take away the corpse of Barbara from Cracovia, where she was hated, she was loathed, and decided to transport her body in a ceremonial procession through all the country back to Lithuania to bury her corpse in Cathedral Vilnius, where, by the way, his first wife was already buried. That was a terrible experience for him, but he was a ruler, he was a king, and he was some duties towards his nation. First of all, to beget a son, beget a heir. So after 2 years of mourning, in 1553, he decided to obey the will of his mother, Bona, and marry once again Austrian princess Catherine of Habsburg. She was the younger daughter of his first wife, Elizabeth. Uh, the envoy who was meant to organize the wedding and to transport the bride to Poland was one of Barbara's brothers, Mikołaj Radziwiłł, who traveled to Vienna and was sending August letters in which he depicted Elizabeth in a very pompous and very opulent way. But he made a little scandal while during the symbolic scene during which he was meant to lay down next to Elizabeth, sorry, next to Catherine, and he refused to take off his boots with spurs. Catherine was so afraid of him, so shocked by his behavior, that she refused to continue the ceremony, and she was taken by force by her brothers, and they made her lay down next to Mikołaj and to complete the ceremony. August met Catherine for the first time, where she got to Poland months later at Łobzów near Krakow. And after seeing her, she was quite disappointed. It turned out that the depictions of hers sent to him by Mikołaj was quite distant from the real appearance of his new wife. And yeah, we can say, looking at the portraits of Catherine, that she didn't stand the comparison neither to Elizabeth, neither to Barbara, who was considered quite a beauty. Catherine was low, was short, was quite obese, had bulging eyes, and yet suffer from epilepsy like her older sister. Not that violent, but still very discouraging for her Polish husband. Nevertheless, August tried to be a good husband and tried to produce an offspring out of this marriage. However, the main flaw, the main Catherine's flaw, the main mistake that she made was mingling into political affairs, which he hated. He wanted women to be obedient and be just at man's pleasure, at man's disposal. She hated women getting involved with political affairs, like his mother, like Bona. Catherine decided to lobby for Austrian interests at Polish court, which was very discouraging for Augustus, and finally seized their marriage. Not formally, but it basically stopped to exist anymore, and Catherine, with the time, got more and more distant and more estranged from Augustus, who at the same time got involved in new romances. He had a special group of young, attractive women around him that he called falcons, where young ladies ready to get involved in sexual intercourses with the king, ready at his disposal, but also costing a lot of money. So Augustus kept repeating that his falcons cost him a fortune and made him and eventually would make him a beggar, made him a poor man. One of the falcons were Zuzanna Orłowska, who probably was a witch, because after yeah, when the romance between her and Augustus ceased, she decided to get revenge on him using witchcraft. It was quite common these times to believe in witchcraft, and especially when the romance were concerned. The other one, Anna Zajączkowska, was the servant of one of Augustus' sisters, Anna Jagiellonka, residing in Warsaw, and exactly in Warsaw was where the meetings, the sexual encounters between Augustus and Zajączkowska occurred. Funny thing, Augustus was so bold, so outrageous with his sexual activity that he didn't care for Anna's devotion, Anna's beliefs, and dared have sex with Zajączkowska in a chamber next to the chapel where Anna Jagiellonka was praying, and separated from her only by a thin wall. So you can imagine yeah, how repulsed by his brother's behavior Anna Jagiellonka was, and how she hated Zajączkowska, who was eventually dismissed from Anna's court and got a very opulent, very rich and luxurious residence in Bugaj near Zduńska Wola. The other falcon that we have to mention would be Barbara Giżanka, so similar from the appearance to Barbara Radziwiłł that caught Augustus' attention right ahead. And she was the one who took part in a very mysterious ceremony that Augustus was part of, put up by Jan Twardowski, a very mysterious German gentleman who was famous for his abilities to make magic, and he promised Augustus to call Barbara's ghost before his very eyes. So he and some Jerzy Mniszek, who probably was the inventor of the whole thing, they invited King to sit next to the mirror, and during this trick, the shape of a woman he loved appeared in a mirror. He believed it was the ghost of his late wife, of Barbara Radziwiłł. But what we can believe from these historical sources, that was properly Giżanka, put there by Twardowski and by Biszach. Nevertheless, it seems that Augustus never recovered from the loss of his beloved Barbara, and the need of finding new women was probably caused by his constant despair, a constant mourning for his dear Barbara. With the time, he suffered from many illnesses. He lost his teeth. He was unable to walk, and eventually he died, as I mentioned, in July the 7th, 1572, at his beloved Knyszyn in Podlasia. Bringing to an end the fate of Jagiellonian dynasty on Polish throne. Okay, that would be it. I hope you enjoyed this little speech about Sigismund August. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eva.